I'm sitting here in the greenhouse. We're at the part of the year where it's very hot during the day, but kind of chilly at night and in the morning. Just finished doing chores. And I was reflecting on the fact that this part of the year is kind of bittersweet. It's sweet because the garden is growing. The corn is taller than I am. The beans are ready to harvest. The eggplants and tomatoes are stretching out and trying to take over everything. It's also sweet because as I harvest food, I'm able to provide it for myself and for my family. So we're getting nourishment from the soil. On the other side, it's kind of bitter, however, because we're quickly approaching the part of the year where the garden will be dead and barren. You see, vegetables, most of them grow anywhere from 30 to 90 days from planting to harvest. So there is a growing season where you can plant things, you can harvest them, you can plant more things. But as we approach the fall and then the winter, slowly but surely we get to the point where I harvest food, but I can't plant more. The beds just have to remain empty. And as I reflect on that, I realize that the garden goes through the exact same life cycle that we do as sentient beings. We're born, we grow old, we get sick, we die. This is the cycle of samsara, the cycle of suffering. And Buddha, in his wisdom, taught us through the Four Noble Truths, through the Noble Eightfold Path, how to endure that cycle without suffering. But I think it's important to know that no matter how good we are at the practice, the cycle, until we reach Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, full and complete enlightenment, it's never ending. Even the Buddha, after he had his final incarnation, as a human, took rebirth again and lived as a bodhisattva in the Tushita heavens, helping the gods and the demigods realize enlightenment. Here in the garden, everything will die towards the end of this year. And then in the spring of next year, I'll plant new vegetables. And I'll pull weeds, and I'll mulch the beds, and I'll fight with however many insects are trying to destroy my crops that year. And I'll harvest, and it'll be bittersweet, and everything will die again. So as long as I have a garden, I will always have work to do. I will be prepping beds, I will be planting, I will be harvesting, putting down mulch to cover weeds in between the beds. The work is never ending. As Buddhists, our practice is also never ending. Doesn't matter how long you sit on the cushion, doesn't matter how closely you study the sutras, you'll always have to study them again. You'll always have to learn a little bit more. You'll always have to sit a little bit longer. And this can be torturous nightmare fuel, or it can just be something we learn to enjoy. Just like I've learned to enjoy the cycles of life I experience in the garden. And going beyond gardening and beyond Buddhism even, just normal everyday activities. In the West, we're so obsessed with this idea of finishing things. We want to put the check mark that we completed it. We want to get our diploma or our gold star. But our lives, if we look at them closely, are filled with nothing but never-ending cycles. We wash the dishes today. Why? So we can wash them again tomorrow. We go to work and earn a paycheck to pay bills. Why? So that we can go to work, earn a paycheck, and pay bills the following month. And when I think about the root of a lot of my own personal suffering, when I first started to walk this path, or even before that, a lot of it came with this idea that there must be something more than this. There must be something beyond the endless cycles. There must be a way to finish, to be done, to get to the peak of the mountain. But as anyone who's ever climbed a mountain knows, even when you get to the summit and look around, all you see is other mountains to climb. So if we learn to accept that the work is never done, that our job is never finished, that the cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death is never ending, if we accept that fact, then we place ourselves mentally and emotionally where we can learn to enjoy it. And if we can't enjoy it necessarily, we can at least learn not to hate it. I don't think I'll ever enjoy washing dishes per se, but I have learned to enjoy what a clean kitchen looks like. I don't necessarily enjoy pulling weeds from the garden, but I do enjoy the sense of satisfaction I get when all the weeds are gone for, at least a couple of hours. So as we continue about our days, we continue through the never-ending cycles of life: birth, aging, sickness, death, birth, aging, sickness, death, birth, aging, sickness, death. Let's stop trying to finish the work. Let's stop trying to ask ourselves, when will I be done? And let's instead just learn to enjoy and accept the work itself. And maybe if we do that, we can find value in the ordinary, mundane things we do every day. Amitabha.